Hello, everyone. Sorry I'm a little late. I was running a little late. I was talking to my grandmother about something. Hope everyone's doing well. You probably hear it in my voice. I am a little sick. I'm recovering from a kind of brief cold that I was having. So yeah, hopefully that'll be down and done when I say. I think I am on the last stretch of it, so I think I'm doing okay there. But what are you gonna do? Anyway, hello everyone. Hope everyone's doing okay. I know it's been a while since I've done one of these. Not really my fault in that case. Well, not all of it was my fault. Some of it was. There was some I. Uh, Most of it was because I generally do these because Matt over at Matt's Book Reviews or tell him sick. I'm not thinking straight. What the hell? My mic does not sound normal. What the hell? What? There we go. Okay, hopefully my mic sounds a little better. I don't know why it was doing that. The StreamYard likes to dick me around a little bit sometimes. But anyway, hopefully everyone's doing okay. I am glad to see that everyone's doing fine. Hello, Dimidrek. How you doing? I have returned. Yes, I know it's been a while. Might be wondering, whoa, what's wrong with your voice? Yeah, I'm getting over a bit of a cold, if you will. Been kind of sick last couple days, mainly weak. Yeah, your team did win the Super Bowl. Yes, the Seattle Seahawks are Super Bowl champions. Once again, they got revenge on the Patriots because Pete Carroll doesn't know how to use probably the greatest running back of his generation. But what do I know about that? It's still my favorite Super Bowl I've ever watched, by the way, that one. But yeah, that Super Bowl was kind of lame, honestly. It was a really slow game. Not a lot happened. The Bad Bunny show was fun. I know it pissed off a lot of conservatives, but I mean, I didn't really mind it. I thought it was fine. Hold on. Again, sorry if I seem a little frazzled. Yeah, I was a bit late on the draw here. Excuse me. Yeah, I mean, if you're a defense guy, you probably enjoyed it. I definitely had a. I mean, it was fun hanging out with family. Oh, yeah, it reminds me. I'm gonna see if my friend got my text from yesterday because I finished a book. Believe it or not, I finished the Jazz Ear. Sorry, it's I got this from a friend of mine. He got it like real cheap, but the Jazz Ear by Ben Ratliff, which is basically a bunch of interviews with jazz musicians, some very well known, some probably not so well known. People like Wayne Shorter. Wayne Shorter's the first one. There's Sonny Rollins gets an interview. Wynton Marsalis's brother Branton gets interviewed in this. Um, it's a good book, not quite as good as his other jazz related book, which is outstanding, and that is Coltrane, The Story of a Sound, which is just. I'll be honest, I actually wanted to read this again after finishing the Jazz Year. The Jazz Year is good, though I imagine you'll probably like it a lot if you're a jazz nut like me or Demidrek, because I know Demidrek really enjoys jazz as well. So yeah, if you like jazz, you'll probably get a lot more out of it than if you didn't. You'll get a lot of jazz music recommendations though, so you'll be getting that. Oh man. Okay. But anyway, what is everyone reading at the moment? Because I have some goodies here. I am reading The Good Lord Bird by James McBride for Black History Month. And that's also the reason I read The Jazz Ear finally. I've been meaning to read it for a few years now because I got it from a friend of mine. He actually sent me a very kind letter, which I actually still have in the book, but I want to pull it out because um, very good book so far. It's a retelling of John Brown and his attempts to create a insurrection, if you will, with the slave population of the United States and his actions during Bleeding Kansas. It's a very good book, very funny, very reminiscent of someone like Mark Twain. So if you're a fan of like Mark Twain or The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, give this book a shot. It's a lot of fun so far. I've really had a lot of good time with it. It's a really good. It also has some pretty strong emotional moments too. Like there's some really good emotional moments in here too. Um, yeah, and also I'm going to be reading a RAF recommendation, and that is of course Blackheart Man by Nalo Hopkinson. I got interested in this. This is my second standalone fantasy I'll be reading during the year. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It was either that or I was gonna say screw it and go with Gloriana, but I decided not to do Gloriana. Yes, hopefully everyone's doing well. What is everyone else reading? Enough on me. I finished a book called A Rage in Harlem by a guy called Chester Himes, which has been good. Which was actually quite good. I listened to the audiobook from Samuel L. Jackson, which was a lot of fun. Hello Kale, how you doing? I read Kill Your Boyfriend by Grant Morrison. It's part of my Morrison-a-thon, which was pretty good. So there you go there. Um uh, Hello Tharnal, how you doing, my friend? I was wondering where you were at. I was hoping you would join in. But you know how the social club. We're 20 episodes in. I wasn't even. Oh, sorry. Hello, John. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Sorry, I didn't see you. Now I forgot what I was gonna say. So thanks, John, for distracting my train of thought. No. Um. Yes, I will be in Florida about 2 weeks from now, so it's gonna be fun. Or actually, no, it's gonna be about 9 days from now, which is crazy. Um, so yes, no videos for me until the 4th of March. So, that should be fun. But I got something planned. I got something planned for March 4th. So keep your eyes open for that. I was talking with my friend Sebastian Weiss about Steve Donahue. Yes, I'm glad everyone is here. Oh yes. Now I remember what I was going to say. I can't believe we're actually at 20. I wasn't expecting this to become like a recurring thing. But you know how capitalism is. When there's a market, you have to provide, and people will show up. So thank you. And then Raph would be here railing about why capitalism's bad. But you know what? We won't worry about that right now because Raph's not here. I did invite him though. He said he'll make it if he can. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah. Huh. Hmm. Thank you, John. I appreciate that. I like you all too. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me, even though we don't really do anything. And also, I don't do any of those reading sprints. So I imagine that doesn't make me very popular. But you know what? I've never really been popular. So you know what? I'm okay with that. People seem to like me yapping on here for 2 hours or so. What you doing? What you reading? Well, what am I doing? I am recovering from an illness. Well, if you want to, you definitely can. I did send the link to Raf, but he said he might make it. He might not. I'm not sure yet. So we'll see. But anyway, I'm reading The Good Lord Bird by James McBride, and I'm also going to start a Raf recommendation. That is Blackheart Man by Nalo Hopkinson. I've heard she's really good. And I've actually been looking for good, like, African inspired fantasy since Black Leopard Red Wolf blew me away. And Moonwood Spider King also blew me away as well, in a different manner. I don't know. I might have some weird dreams if I read Malazan while sick. But but then again, Matt did it, so maybe it would be a good idea. Well, I will say at least I'm getting the sickness out of the way now because I really would not want to be having this while out in Florida or even when I'm getting home from Florida because that would be a big suck, honestly. Really would dampen the vacation experience. Every day's a good time. All the time is a good time for Pet Cemetery. Excuse me. But yes, I've been. Oh yeah, now I remember what I was doing. Sorry, my brain always goes like three directions at once.
I look tired as
Okay, that's nice. Uh Yeah, I also watched Books, Beverages, and Besties' new video today. Glad to hear that they liked The City in the City from China Mieville. Um, I find that's a really good book to start with Mieville because it's very. It's probably his most accessible work. I don't know if it's um I have a funny story about the Count of Monte Cristo. If you guys don't mind me telling. Um, when I read it for the first time, it was in high school. I was in an AP English class, and I hadn't realized at the time that I was supposed to have read it during the summer. So I had to basically play catch up for about 3 weeks. It was not a fun experience doing that, but I do remember liking the book. I don't recommend doing that, by the way. um, So yes, if I recommend anything, it is be a better student than I was because I was not a very good student. But for some reason, my parents were like, you know what, this kid, he seems all right. We'll give him another chance. Probably shouldn't have, but you know what? I'm a college graduate now. I actually got my diploma in the mail this week, so it's official. It's crazy, obscene. I might dare say. Maybe obscene's too wrong a word. So I'm actually quite pleased with my achievement. It was also Valentine's Day yesterday, which, nice. I'm not dating anybody. But you know what? For those who were dating people, good for you. I think Valentine's Day is a bit overrated anyway. So basically what I did was I listened to a bunch of melancholic love music. Thank you, John. I appreciate that. You know what? We can be single together, Demedrack. We can just do that. Do those hallucinogens together. Yeah, I went to yeah, then when my parents and I went to Hobby Lobby and got my diploma framed. So it was quite nice. I'm very glad that we got that done because I am hoping to hang it up somewhere in my office. I don't know where yet. Just have a couple of other things framed. Well, now you know. It was Valentine's Day yesterday. Um and you know, it was a day where people got chocolate, or if you're lonely like I am, you just like sat in your room and like cried and listened to like Chet Baker, sing My Funny Valentine or something like that. I'm just kidding. I didn't cry. I was actually okay for most of the day. I was recovering from an illness though, so that wasn't fun. That's the second time that's happened, by the way. I remember a few years ago, I got like this really nasty cold um on Valentine's Day, and I'm like, yeah, that's just perfect. Where is Ida? I thought she'd be here by now. I think it'll work if you just press the link and join in. It should work. I don't know. I've not really listened to a lot of Paramore, but there was a recent Haley Williams song I listened to that I actually liked. I mean, Paramore is not really my type of thing. We'll hold you to that, good sir. Hello, Chadia. How you doing? Glad to see you here. I am just well, it's called the sick bed version for a reason. I'm recovering from a brief illness I've been having. You can probably hear it in my voice a little bit. That's okay. Raph, my main man, how you doing? Uh, I'm just chilling here, bro. May get a drink because throat's a little hoarse. I know, right? It's like sometimes your immune system's like, it's Nice. All right, no pressure, of course. John has kind of been flirting with coming on, which kind of we'll see how that goes. Good luck, John. Yeah, it's an underrated movie from what I've heard. I've not watched it in many years, but it's fun. That sucks. I'm sorry. Did Lamagra killed anyone? I don't know what that is, but nothing has been killed here, nor is anything killing anything here. So as I entered later, what are you reading? Well, what am I reading? Oh, that's right. Sorry. It's been a while since I've seen Blade. I am reading Good Lord Bird, James McBride. Pretty good book. Is it inappropriate to say this is the most fun book about slavery that I've ever read? I mean, it still, shows slavery for the horrible thing that it is, but it's a really fun read. So there's that. And there's also Blackheart Man by Nalo Hopkinson, which Raph recommended to me. And I'm like, well, it's a standalone, so I'm going to read it. And hopefully it will scratch the same itch as the Dark Star books. Which, speaking of, Marlon James is releasing a new book called The Disappearers. And on the one hand, awesome, we're getting a new Marlon James book. But not awesome, we are not getting the third... we are not getting the third Dark Star book yet, which is really frustrating. What is that book about? The second one. Oh, Blackheart Man. I mean, I think Raph would be better asked that, but I'll just read the back here if you don't mind. Excuse me. One morning. Nope. Hold on. One morning, 15 Yemison galleons arrive in the harbor to force a trade agreement upon the island nation of Chinchin. Vikosi, in training as a griot, a historian and musician, hopes to sail off to examine the rare Alamat Book of Light and thus secure a spot for himself on Chinchin's colloquium of scholars. However, an unexpected disaster created by Vikosi prevents that from happening, just as the implied threat of the Yemison rises. Hoping to recover and prove himself with a bold move, Vikosi quickly finds himself in way over his head. Bad turns to worse when malign forces start stirring. How much trouble can a poor student take, or cause all by himself? The line between myth and the history of the Gentian War of Independence with the Yemison blends in this delightfully sly novel by one of our most lauded writers of Caribbean speculative fiction. So there you go. I know, that's why that's one part of what I'm thinking. I don't see you in here, John, so excuse me. Jeez. I am probably going to start Blackheart Man this evening, so uh-oh. Got ourselves a guest. You know him. You love him. John. How you doing, John?
Hello.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
No, you love him. John. How you doing, John? It's the first time I've seen you, like, I don't know if face to face is the right word, but
I know I'm very nervous myself, Okie dude, but here I am. Not the prettiest mug.
I hope not. Like I mean, Marlon only has one more book to go, and it doesn't seem like he has much excuse to kind of, Malanger on the book, but yeah, no, it's I hope not. I want that third book to come out, but I mean, I guess there's less pressure because like you could read Black Leopard, Red Wolf, and Moonwood Spider King on its own, and it still works as a story. But I do think I recommend reading them together, but you know, you don't have to. Is what I'm saying. Yes, his new novel, I think, is called The Disappearers, or I can't speak. Yes, this is Momo Jin is what he's also called, but you know, it's
This is me, my fellow Tom Waits friend. This is
yeah,
strange.
this book, which beautiful cover
I've
by
got
the
my
way.
phone filming and me looking to type on the computer, so I don't know what I'm doing. Very delayed and weird. But cheers to Raph.
Oh boy. Oh, excuse me. Yes, I'm actually looking forward to reading Blackheart Man. I hope it scratches the same itch as probably it won't. I'm sure it's a different beast, but I hope it scratches a similar itch as something like Black Leopard, Red Wolf. Oh, Dark Star is the that's the trilogy. I'll just pull them out. It consists of these two books at the moment: Black Leopard, Red Wolf, and Moonwitch Spider King by Marlon James. Both are excellent. I recommend them. But yeah, good times. But if you like, I mean, like I said, you can read both of those books on their own, and you could, get the kind of gist of the story. But it is interesting, again, kind of reading them together because I think there's a lot of information to. You've been reading much, reading much of anything, John?
I'm still stuck on Catcher in the Rye. I've been having lots of crazy things going on in life right now. So my truck is over at the Food City parking lot. The wheel fell off of it.
Oh
Very
boy,
funny,
that's not
but
good.
no, it's not good. But I mean, I'm just thankful to God that it happened in the parking lot and not on the road. I mean, I was going 2 miles an hour when it happened. I'm blessed, truly. So I will say that.
That's good. I mean, at least that it wasn't worse. Excuse me. Well, they don't feed on lightning. They feed on blood and replace the blood with lightning. So there you go. Which, by the way, is a actual thing in mythology, in African mythology. It wasn't something that Marlon James made up. Most beautiful covers ever. Also, some nasty. Indeed, there are nasty things that happen. It gets gnarly. Like that sequence with the were hyenas. Ugh. It is not for the easily offended, is what I'm trying to say. What happened to the wheel? What are you talking about?
Oh, he's talking about the wheel that fell off my truck, and I have no clue, Demdrick.
Oh. Yeah, sorry.
It was making some noises, and I was just leaving Food City, and it just fell off, and looks like all the lugs came off. It looks like it came off at the rotor. The rotor's still attached to the wheel. It's pretty weird, but oh well, I did not die, and neither did anyone else. So that's a good thing.
I will say the most messed up part of Black Leopard Red Wolf does involve the were hyenas. So just to let you know. Oh my god. And apparently, Marlon James's partner wrote a biography about James Baldwin. So that's fun. I would like to read that at some point because I do like James Baldwin, believe it or not. Which one? One of the ones I held, was it Black Leopard Red Wolf or Moonwitch Spider King? Because it's fun. I actually own all of his novels. I've read 3 of the 5 so far. I've read Black Leopard Red Wolf, Moonwitch Spider King, and Brief History of 7 Killings. I still need to read the Book of Night Women and John Crow's Devil. I'm leaning on reading Book of Night Women first, so we'll see how that goes. But but it's good to have you here, John. You're not what I expected you would sound like. Honestly, I mean,
I'm very different from my. I'm very different from my keyboard stuff I do, man. I just the keyboard bravery, semi-trolling.
I will say, Thornall, maybe not this year, but next year maybe. Keep your eyes open. That's all I'll say on that. Anyway, very few books on slavery are. I mean, okay, maybe The Good Lord Bird is, but it still acknowledges like slavery was a horrible thing in America anyway. Well, I mean, slavery's bad I mean, there's like indentured servitude, which is like just bad, but it's not like, it's not like in America where it's all like, oh, these people are my property. I'm just going to beat the shit out of them, if they don't work hard enough.
Actually, slavery was the best in the United States out of a lot of other countries. It was way better in the U.S.
Oh boy, that's a take. I mean, it's still bad.
It's a take, but it's actual facts.
Yeah,
I mean, it was very bad, but it wasn't like Haiti. It wasn't like South America. I mean,
yeah, no,
we really took care of them.
I was actually watching a video about the West Indies, slavery in the West Indies the other day. Like that'll give you the shivers, man. Like it is bad. I mean, slavery is bad in general, but it's it's. Oh well, okay, that makes sense because Marlon James is Jamaican. But really, I mean, aside from you, Raph, my friend Shay actually was reading the Book of Night Women and really enjoyed it. And it's like, Britton, you should read this. And I'm like, you know what? I'll make it my next Marlon James read because I like punishing myself, of course. I mean, I'm actually gonna be doing a Black History Month recommendations video this upcoming Friday. So, well, I'll upload it that day. I'm probably not going to record it that day because that's just a lot of work. But yeah, so keep your eye open for that. I'm hoping to have fun with it. Good luck with that, Demidrek. It's a You know what's funny, Raph? I was actually watching a video the other day about Frankenstein, the book Frankenstein, and it was called The Sexual Politics of Frankenstein, which you can imagine how that goes. A bit kooky and a bit kooky in its presentation, but it's really well argued, I think. I don't know if I agree with every single thing that is said in it, but it's really quite fascinating. Kind of talks about the that kind of Luddite anarchism that influenced Mary Shelley. Her dad was kind of into that, which I know you know a bit about.
The sexual politics of Frankenstein.
Yeah, no, it's
what a thing.
It's titled
terrible.
But yes, I mean, I don't think Blackheart Man is going to be like Black Leopard Wolf. I mean, I think that's Dark Star books because I mean those are just kind of artistic fever dreams in and of itself, but I mean, it kind of deals with similar things, like a griot, like that's a thing that's also in the Dark Star books. It's kind of this is probably a very crippling oversimplification. So if there's any people who are well versed in African history who watch this and might go like, Britton, you're wrong. I'm just saying this is a bit of a simplification here, but it's about I kind of view a griot kind of like a bard, which is probably correct, kind of, but that's kind of how I see it. Now, I don't mean like a literal bard like you might think in like D&D, but it's just kind of how I see it. Yes, it is. Oh, you did watch that one. Okay, you know what? I shouldn't have been shocked. It's quite strange, but yes, it's a really good video. He also did one on Dracula as well, which was really interesting too. My throat is dry. John, keep the masses entertained while I get a drink. Don't say anything too wild now.
No, don't worry. I'm not trying to totally ruin everything. Don't worry. But this is definitely strange as a delay on both things, and like I just don't know how to do it. Maybe I should trust my my laptop video feed. I don't know. I don't ever use it. I'm not very good with technology. I don't. I'm very technologically insufficient. So, Demdrick, I see that. I'm finishing up the Appalachian Tater Mash Tale, which is my second book. It's a middle grade fantasy for kids, for young adults. Supposed to be boys being my audience that I want to write to. But I'm not writing it right now. I'm just going through getting the illustration phase. But since I'm here, only self promo thing I'll say is that The Hacker and the Hillbilly, my debut novel, is free today through the base book sale that the Substack people have, and so it's free on Amazon. The Hacker and the Hillbilly. It's a literary satire, and I'd love to find out what people think about it. I think it's pretty good. But so that's what I've written, and I'm keeping on writing. Going to write the next book after The Hacker and the Hillbilly, which is going to be a conspiracy theory satire. I'm going to try to make it be like the next 1984, like anti-elites, anti-this, that. I'm going to see Oki's come back. So, but I'm just me. Just hello, y'all. Nice to meet you.
I've not been writing anything recently. I've been actually editing the book I've been working on for a while. So that's been fun. Haven't started anything new.
What is it about, Okie Dude, that you could tell me? Because I hear about it, but I haven't. Maybe I haven't watched enough videos to see what you told me before. But what's it about?
Well, it's about well, it's basically like an alternative colonial America, right as the settlers were coming in. So it's called the New World. It's about this guy who gets in trouble with the local religious authorities, and they're like, and one of them makes a deal with them. It's like, well, if you go into this town and figure out this thing that's been going on, we'll let you go free. And it turns into kind of this small town mystery type of thing. So, yeah.
That sounds pretty cool.
I'm looking forward to.
Is it a fantasy, or is it like real life stuff?
It's a fantasy.
Like fantasy, cool. So you're speculative colonial setting, but real life, but fantasy. I got it.
Kind of.
That's what my next novel is. Appalachian Tater Mash Tale for kids, for young adults.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop the self promotion now. So, but
All those sons of bitches. Anyway, oh yes, he did do Checkmate Lincoln Knights, which is a little fun thing he did about the Civil War. It's one of the first things he did that kind of blew up. I haven't watched him so much lately because, again, he's kind of gone into a very different direction. And I'm like, well, this is interesting, but, excuse me. But yes. Oh, sorry. What you were gonna?
yeah,
ask something?
no, I'm just the dead air thing. I got to say something. I know I'm
Oh,
not good at it.
yeah.
This is the first time I've been on stream. I just still have no clue. Trying to.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Yeah, it's yes,
But hey,
going back
man,
to
awesome to see you and to like chat with you. Even though I still don't know how I'm doing it. I guess I should look at the phone, not the
well, yeah,
computer.
it's good to see you, John.
Good to see you, Okie dude.
But what I was gonna say is, yes, I'm leaning on doing Book of Night Women next because, again, I don't like to treat myself very well, I guess. Excuse me. Ah, man. Yeah, no, when I got sick, it was weird because I kind of felt a like scratchiness in my throat on like Monday or Tuesday, and I was like, oh God, please don't. I do not want to get sick right now. And then I got sick and I was like, damn it. But again, it's good that I'm getting it out of the way before any planned comics for this year. I do have a good couple that I want to read. So yeah, I'm actually I'm doing the Morrison-a-thon. So if you remember, I made a video about it about a month ago now, which is crazy. So yeah, I'm doing that. I am going to be doing Animal Man next in terms of my Morrison-a-thon. I'm also hoping to read like Starman from James Robinson and Hawkeye from Matt Fraction, at least finishing now off, and Planetary, which I'll be doing with Joe Byrne. Which I'm surprised that Joe Byrne isn't here because he's usually here during these things. Or well, he sometimes is here, not every time. Yeah, it's funny. My friend Shay's been reading it, and he's kind of like me. He's a bit mixed with Morrison. Yes, it's the original one that Grant Morrison did in the late 80s and early 90s. Then I think it went to Vertigo for a while. Anyway, yes, I'm going to be doing that. I'm thinking of starting Absolute Martian Manhunter. I'm not sure yet. Well, we'll see how it goes. I did too. The Jeff Lemire one. I read that for a Year of Lemire last year, and it was fun. That's a pretty good run. Bit more focused on the family aspect, which I think worked out well because Jeff Lemire's very good at that. But yeah, it's a lot of the comics I'm hoping to read during the year. I probably some other ones I can't think of at the moment. I did reread Blankets of course, from Craig Thompson, which is quite good. It's great, actually, I think. But you know, excuse me. Yeah, I don't know if Grant Morrison. I think it was actually Jamie Delano who made up the red. But yeah. Yes, Animal Man's gonna be my first like big Morrison read, because I've mainly been doing a couple of minis.
I admit I am not on. I'm not aware of a lot of the stuff right here. So
That's fair.
these books I haven't read. These authors I haven't. I don't really even like fantasy. I just thought that this was a pretty good book to community. So, but
Yeah,
hey,
you're more
I
into like
mean,
weird, like outside, like fiction, right? Like you like, Bret Easton Ellis, kind of.
well, no, I mean, I'm really not all that well read. I've just started writing, and I should read a whole lot more. But I was well read when I was younger. I stopped reading for a while. Then I started writing, which is probably I need to start reading more. But for right now, I'm just here, and well, let's see. Yeah, I don't have much to talk about in the way of writing. I was hoping Mr. Raff would come along, and I could say hello to him. There's
Yeah, I mean,
Most of the time it's like a
he
lot
might
of.
show up. We'll see. Um,
I mean, I would not mind talking a little bit of politics stuff with him, but I'm not well versed in the book stuff to understand. But I know that's something that you allow on your platform. So I mean, but Raph, I really respect as a friend. Um, just
yeah, no,
disagree,
he's a
and we
good
should
guy.
not. Main
Yeah, no,
thing I'm trying to say to everybody is that we shouldn't be divided. And I mean, I'm even in the central center, but be more on one side. But I'm the same as everybody as far as the elites are taking the money. And, it's really bad. Inflation is way more than what it should be, and things are bad now. So like I'm more thinking things of lines of I'm looking deep into it, seeing patterns, looking at conspiracy type stuff and what they say, and I think it's all meant to be. But that that's my platform on social political stuff. It's just all they're just it's on purpose. They
Yeah,
want
I've
us
got
to
a lot
fight
of.
amongst ourselves instead of fighting with other people.
Yeah, I've gotten a few good book recommendations from Raph. I actually just recently got in the mail this book, The Light Brigade by Cameron Hurley, because Raph was telling me all about it, and I'm like, oh, that sounds really interesting. Sounds like my type of thing. So yeah, I'm looking forward to reading that.
Just a nice looking cover.
Yeah, cover's nice. Yes, so hopefully I'll get around to reading that sometime in the near future. And yeah, I just got that recently. So yeah, it has pointed me out to a lot of interesting books. Like Blackheart Man, probably wouldn't have known about it if not for Raph as well. So there you go. I was thinking about talking with him about a brief history of 7 killings at some point in the near future. But I mean, I did think about doing it for Black History Month, but I'm like, you know what? I can wait. I have enough stuff going on this month. You know what? I just I'll just wait till like summer or something. We'll do it then. But yeah, it's I've heard of that book. That one's kind of like I've heard of that one. I've heard it's kind of like I don't want to say it's just like, A Clockwork Orange, but I've heard it has like a kind of invented language, which is interesting because I heard of this book recently from Steve Donahue called The Wake, um, which is about the Norman invasion from like history, and it's also done in kind of like a fictional lingo, which is pretty. I thought was kind of unique. Thought about picking that up at some point. I've been kind of burned out with Steve though, because I just kind of been feeling a little that outspokenness he has can become kind of overwhelming after a while, where you're just kind of like, I just kind of want to. Oh well, okay then. That's I had a friend who I have some friends who like it. I have some friends who don't like it, which it's not really. I guess that's not really saying much, but yeah, I know it's kind of done that way. Go back to Steve though. Yeah, I'm just kind of taking a break from his videos because I just get kind of burned out with how like outspoken and opinionated he can be. Nothing against him. And there's also the fact he made a video recently where he kind of mentioned me indirectly and it was kind of snarky, and I'm like, yeah, I don't really, that's not nice. So yeah. Anyway, I won't get too much into that because I don't want too much drama on here. It's not what my channel's about.
Happy Valentine's Day, everyone.
Yes, Valentine's Day was recent.
To Ada.
I did not have a special someone. I'm kind of waiting it out, not about drama, but for some reason I've attracted it in the past. Like, when Raph, this is kind of a funny story. When Raph said that one time he wanted to punch Mike in the face.
Raph brings the peepees.
Yeah, no, like people got mad. I was like, oh shit, and I had to unlist it because I was just like, oh right, people are actually getting offended by this. So I don't want to do that.
I'm used to it. I've tried not to offend people before, but I offended them anyhow. But I didn't mean to. Maybe it's the same with Raph.
Yeah, it's yeah, I know it's nothing. Raph didn't do anything wrong, or well, I mean, I don't agree with him that Mike's a fascist, of course, but it's just
I disagree.
It was just one of those cases where it was like there was too many people kind of going like, oh, this kind of, and then like Mike heard about it, and I was like, oh god, I'm gonna just unlist this. So you can still access it, but I have to give you the link first. But it's just kind of, it was this whole thing.
Hey, people make mistakes. I believe that was a mistake of Raph's, but I mean, I like Raph. I like Raph a lot, and I try to be there from another side just to say, hey, man, I'm a friend. I care about you. You got a sense of humor. I make you laugh. Hello. So, but I don't have any bad feelings about Raph.
No, I don't either. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's still here, but yeah, no, it was yeah, no, I saw that Raph made a new video about Valentine's Day recently. I haven't watched it yet. Or well, I started watching it and I was like, and I turned it off. I'll probably watch it after I'm done here.
Yeah, I commented, made a joke on it. Just try to make him laugh with his spots on his head, trying to say he's a Hellboy, like grinding off his horns joke. And then the Chuck Tingle joke. I mean, I care about Raph. He's a good dude. He's got a sense of humor. I like him.
Yeah, no, I read yeah, no, he's a good guy. He's I respect his, I mean,
he's very intelligent.
It is not about Valentine's Day. Sorry, it said romance. All right, it said romance. So I just made that connection. But yeah, no, he just need to accept Drist in his heart. I don't know if that's gonna happen. But Yeah, no, yeah, it's always fun talking to him because he'll just bring up these like random books that I've never even heard of. I'm just like, what is this? And he's like, oh, and then like, oh, Frederick Jameson, this guy. I'm like, oh, what's this? You know, um, yeah, hold on here. Oh wow, someone actually got a copy of Rage, which is Stephen King's like one of his first books that he actually took out of print because people were like, oh, this is kind of inspiring me to shoot people. So yeah, don't do that. I've not read it. I've heard of it though. I know that it's considered like really good sci-fi. I think Raph's read To Like the Lightning. So Raph, if you want to pull in and if you want to dive in and talk about that. I am thinking of reading that since I'm going to be reading a lot of sci-fi this year, but I don't know. It seems kind of like a commitment. I mean, it's 4 books. I don't mind that, but it's just kind of. I mean, it's 4 books, so I'm not saying it's like undoable. It's just kind of like I don't know. I've just heard it's kind of dense, and you know, I don't know if I want to put in the effort just like at this moment anyway. If I'm not like fully ready for it. Excuse me. Excuse me. Oh my god, I don't know what I'm doing here. Ugh.
Neither do I. Still don't. Good time to practice when there's only 9 watching.
Well, you know what? That was well played, Raph. Well played. Yeah, I mean, it's funny, you know, I was watching a video from my friend David the other day, also known as Four Corners of the Page, who runs a great channel, by the way. You should check him out. He was talking about like how books are
He's a
complicated.
good dude.
Yeah, no, he's a good guy. Yeah, no, good
I
Scottish
like him.
lad. But anyway,
He likes to get his outside videos with by the stream and all. It's pretty cool.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
his most recent video, he's freezing his ass off. I'm like, damn, dude, keep warm. But anyway, he was talking about you know, why are books so like complicated or what? Hold on, let me actually find the video so I'm not just talking off my ass here.
I'm too busy looking at BookTube, watching y'all's videos to read books. Right? That's a joke.
Seems like there's a joke somewhere in there, but anyway,
It could
hold
be.
on. Four Corners. See, this is what I get for getting my mic really close. I have to move my stuff around. Anyway, what's that video? Oh, it's called Confusing Books, Who's to Blame? And it was a really good book. And it's a really good video. And I was just like, you know what? I think people will read what they're willing to put up with. Because, I mean, you know, I like the, you know, Marlon James stuff. I mean, that's not an easy read by any means. You know, it could be quite dense at times. But you know, there's a lot of really cool stuff that Marlon James is doing in those 2 books that I think is well worth a read. But then I'll read something like Gene Wolfe, and I've bounced off of it most times. I don't know why. It's, you know, it's just kind of I don't know why.
I do have. I actually DNF. What's the name of the book? Shoot. The old man. Infinite Jest. I DNF that. It was 150 pages, and I love the way that he described things like as an observer to describe them in a very literary way. And I thought he had a lot of talent, but I just thought his editors, like, I mean, we're 150 pages in, and you're very smart, and you write and you say words I don't understand, but I didn't care. I wasn't looking at a dictionary when I read it. But I mean, I'm 150 pages in, and you haven't even started other than you're in the tennis academy, and I just couldn't finish it at this time. But I gave it 150 words, which is half a proper novel. But I just thought, yeah, man, if I try to keep on, then I'm just going to be looking like a pretentious person that trudged through it. But
I mean, I
Oh,
said in my comment on David's video,
I'm
it's
like,
I think
but I
really
respect him as a writer.
I think it's more of a taste thing than anything else. Which I know it's kind of probably like, wow, Britton, that's a profound take there, but no, I'm being serious. I think it's what we're we have limits with how much we're willing to take, and it's I guess my limit is Gene Wolfe. There's just sometimes I just get so frustrated. I would like to try Book of the New Sun though at some point. I'll try that, and if not, I'll just go like, you know what, Gene Wolfe, he's just not for me. I'm glad it works for some other people, but I've just never been able to wrap my head around it. You know what? That's fine. Sometimes sometimes it's that way. Oh yeah, I also shared a story of a Mike snafu I had, which is good fun. Which I should note for future reference. If you're going to do a podcast or anything like that, plug your mics into the software that you use. I totally have not done that. It's like I totally have not done that and wasted an hour doing a podcast with no sound on my end. And you might think, Britton, that's oddly specific. And I'll say to you, you shut your mouth. Anyway.
Some have done it twice. Like Talking Story John, he messed up 2 times at least, I think. Not with mic problems.
Yeah, I've heard it. She actually plays with kind of religious, because one of the things that always kind of bothers me in science fiction is that like in the future, like no one brings up like religion or Shakespeare. I always get annoyed with Star Trek. It's like, oh, we've moved past religion and those silly things. I'm like, I'm calling bullshit, Gene Roddenberry. That is not going to happen. And I've heard Terra Ignata kind of plays with that in an interesting way. So, I would like to read it at some point. Yeah, that's an interesting time. I think deism's kind of dumb because, like, when you think about it, it's basically just like, it's basically just like a proto atheism. It's like you believe in God. Basically, God created the universe and is like, okay, see you guys later. I'm gonna be doing my own thing over here. It just doesn't really make sense when you think about it. At least to me, it doesn't. It's like just if you call yourself an atheist, like I respect you more. But you know what? I don't know. Good luck with that. I've also heard it's kind of a riff on Book of the New Sun. Probably not, but I've heard it kind of plays with similar kind of storytelling tricks as Book of the New Sun. And Ada Palmer did the foreword for the tour. I want to call it a compendium, but the 2 books, the first 2 books of Book of the New Sun. I don't even think like deism's like a religion. It's more like a philosophical point of view, but whatever.
I don't know what deism is. Deism is no clue.
It basically means you believe in God, but you don't think like, but you think like he just created the universe and he's like, okay, later guys, I'm gonna go over here and do my own thing while you idiots run around and shoot each other. Oh, we got ourselves a guest. You know him. You love
The
him.
ultimate observer.
Raph. How you doing, Raph?
Hey.
You were just watching me make an ass of myself. You're like, I gotta go help Britton here.
Hello, Raph.
Hi.
Hey, good to see you, brother.
All right. I guess
I'm going to set up the chairs. I'll be right back.
All right. Now I'm actually able to pay attention because I still had the stream on, and then you have like the stream audio and the StreamYard audio, and there's like 5 to 10 seconds delay, and you have both. That is really bad to listen to. Well, cheers, everybody. And yes, Britton, you are definitely not getting deism right.
Well, I'm not trying to like do a dissertation. This is just my understanding of it. So I could
Yeah,
be, I
and,
could be.
the problem with that is that there is deism as a philosophy that started with, in the 17th century with Herbert, Lord of Shaftesbury, and then kind of became a bit more of a thing in the 18th century. And the fundamental idea of deism is not necessarily what you just said. Like, there is that idea of, God created the world and then just like stepped away and let it run. There is certainly that, which is called like a deus ociosus, which means inactive God. But that is not necessarily what all deists believe. The idea of deism as such is more about whether you can gain knowledge of God as a creator without revelation. Because the fundamental thing is, this is like the 18th century. They're still all basically more or less somewhat Christian in what they believe, right? And the idea and the question is like, what about everyone who doesn't have access to the Bible for whatever reasons, right? This is, the time where we have finally figured out that this is like a whole globe. What about everyone who did not have, access to the Bible because they lived on the wrong continent and shit like that? So are all of those people damned just because of, being in the wrong place? Or is there a way for those people who have no access to the Christian revelation to actually learn about the existence of God, and just by observing the universe, realize that there has to be some form of creator, and if so, what kind of things does that creator want from us, in form of like what would be a good life and so forth? That's the thing. Like, the fundamental idea of deism is believing in God in one way or another, and being able to reach that form of belief and those fundamental rules of like, don't be a dick, basically, without having to read the Bible. Obviously, if you read the Bible, for example, you will get to the same conclusions. But the point is that you can get there without the authority of a text, without the authority of a priest. And that's why a lot of these deists at the time were also very much opposed to the, because this is like largely a British thing. They're often very much in that sort of like struggle between Anglican High Church and all the dissenter churches after the British, the English Civil War, and so forth. Because both in Catholic theology and, of course, Anglican theology, the idea is that you kind of need preachers, priests, to sort of explain all of this stuff to you, and you need sort of like someone who teach you about God and the universe and how to behave and so forth according to the Bible. And the deist position is like, nope. If you just look at the world, you will realize that it is made by some force that we will call God. And because of the way it all fits together, we can also sort of like come to the conclusion that there are some ways that are clearly correct behavior and some things that are clearly not correct behavior. And they will sort of end up with this stuff, Kantian golden rule stuff of like, don't be a dick, basically. And that's deism. All the other stuff are individual beliefs by different deists that have different sort of like personal beliefs about God. Some go like, well, God's clearly gone. Others go like, well, whatever. But that's the thing. The main thing is you can actually reach a belief in God without having revelation.
Fair enough. Thank you for the clarification there.
Sorry, it's something I've spent too much time reading.
Yeah, I mean, my familiarity with deism, of course, is because, like, well, a lot of the founding fathers in my country, anyway, some of them were, not all of them. It was kind of a mixture of beliefs. Like, rather infamously, Thomas Jefferson was a deist. He actually had a version of the Bible where it's basically Jesus' moral teachings, but without any of the miracles and stuff.
Yeah, and that's like the thing that like deism then once again like went through all kinds of different sort of like changes. And yes, up to a point, people like Thomas Paine and Jefferson were deists to one degree or another, but there is that political dimension to it, which once again leads towards democracy and so forth, which obviously pairs well with people like Jefferson and Paine, especially Paine.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I was Yes. Yeah, there's also the French Revolution. Deism was also a thing there as well.
Yeah. Although they had some actual hardcore atheists as well at the time.
I'll just remove John until he comes back, and I'll add him back in.
Mm.
He's been gone for a while. Yeah, which funnily enough, speaking of Jefferson, I actually got his book. I actually got a book called Thomas Jefferson Dreams of Sally Hemings, which is apparently a really good book about a controversial subject, to say the least.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Oh,
interestingly enough, the first sort of like the first biography of Jefferson that deals heavily with that subject apparently is a biography written by Fawn and Brodie, who also wrote that very controversial biography of Joseph Smith.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I remember Steve Donahue really liked that. He doesn't really like Thomas Jefferson. He won't just outright say it, but he doesn't really like Jefferson. And look, there's a good amount of reasons to not like Jefferson, so I'm not saying he's wrong entirely, but, what are you going to do? No, sorry, John, I just removed you for a minute, and then while you were kind of gone for a minute, and I put you back in. So there you go. But yeah, anyway, that's a very controversial subject that's still debated today. Well, not necessarily that if it happened or not, it clearly did, but just like, what does that mean for all that fun? It should be it should be an interesting book, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I mean, like, so here's the thing, like the Fawn Brodie biography of Jefferson is definitely very highly regarded and everything. So, as is, of course, her biography of Joseph Smith. I think it's more interesting in that it's like that very specific sort of style of psychological, psychoanalytical biography where like the author is trying to sort of give you a psychological profile of a long dead person, which obviously comes with a lot of heavy interpretation and stuff. That is, a style that was very popular in like the 1950s, 60s, and 70s that we have kind of moved beyond these days because it's, more literary than, academic for in a lot of ways. Which is fine.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's I've heard like the art of Thomas Jefferson, the Art of Power is pretty good. So I'm actually quite fascinated with Jefferson. I think he's a really interesting guy and thinker, for that matter.
I mean, there's a lot of reasons to dislike Jefferson, for sure.
Oh, for sure. I'm not saying there isn't. It's just kind of.
I mean, that's like the thing. Like most of the founding fathers.
It's like saying that about Thomas Paine. Like there's a lot of reasons to not like Thomas Paine. Kind of an asshole.
I think, like, I guess the difference is that, like, there's always that level of hypocrisy that you can find with Jefferson that you can't find with Thomas Paine. Thomas Paine was definitely a pain in the ass, but that's because he is very clearly, sticking to his very specific beliefs and going, and does not compromise whatsoever, which makes him very difficult to deal with, of course. But, there is there's integrity with Thomas Paine in a way that you don't find with Thomas Jefferson, I would argue. Especially when it comes
Thomas Jefferson is
like,
just a contradiction of a man, if you really read about him anyway. Well, we can just say he's a flagrant hypocrite if you're less sympathetic. Which you wouldn't be wrong on either count. So there you go. It's kind of, I'm not going to open that. I don't want to open that can of worms today, but this is where we're at.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, the only really cool one is obviously the original MILF hunter, Ben Franklin, but
Yeah. He was a character, we'll just say.
He shows up a lot in Mason and Dixon by Thomas Pynchon.
Oh, that should be fun. I heard George Washington also shows up in that.
Yeah, of course he also shows up, and it's about smoking weed, because of course it is.
Yeah, it's a yeah, no, but yeah, kind of going back to that deism thing, it's quite fascinating. Oh, and John he needs to connect his stuff. But yeah, no, it's yeah, no, you're right. There is kind of a consistency with Thomas Paine. He was just kind of well, no pun intended. He was just a pain in the ass to deal with. It's kind of
Yeah.
like he's kind of like the Christopher Hitchens of the founding fathers. Just kind of like strong principles, but a real pain in the ass to deal with. And all honesty, he is best used. He is best used when he has someone looking over him, basically.
With the difference that, as far as I know, Thomas Paine did never argue for torture.
Yeah, as far as I know, he didn't do that. No, it's just kind of, or well, you know what? It's more like he's good when he has something he needs to say and he has like a specific point he needs to make, like with Common Sense or the trial of Henry Kissinger. But he's just kind of an asshole who, a lot of people are like, I don't really want to deal with him.
Well, yeah, I mean,
or at least that's how Hitchens always came off to me. Maybe he was nice in his personal life, but I probably would have had a hard time dealing with him.
The thing is, like, all of those people are troubling in their different ways. Dawkins, terrible person. Daniel Dennett always seemed to be the most reasonable one, but he's very deep.
I always thought he kind of looked like Santa Claus.
Obviously, I read some of Dennett's stuff on consciousness and so forth at university because he actually did reasonably important sort of like philosophical work. And he continued doing that, unlike, say, Richard Dawkins, whose last really important academic book was probably in the 1980s, I guess.
Hello, Victor. How you doing? Yeah, no, yes, Raph, I'm hoping to start Blackheart Man soon because I heard it from you and I'm like, that'd be a good Black History Month read. And then it came in like 7 days ago because I'm really bad at keeping up with things. So yeah, it's fun times. It's been fun out here in Oklahoma.
No, I have not seen that miniseries, Thornall. Blackheart Man is a lot of fun, but I am serious about the thing that I said earlier in chat. Like, Vaikosi is an absolutely annoying motherfucking main character. Like, he constantly gets into trouble by just being obnoxious. Which is the kind of the point, like Nala Hopkinson said in like an interview that she was trying to write a character that is like a stoner grad student, and yeah, she's you can tell she's been in academia for a long time because she very much hits that specific, very overconfident, careless thing that you get with like students. She's very well at hitting that, but those kind of people can be very frustrating.
Yeah, it's I mean, I only know of Gria of excuse me, the Dark Star books. Which I don't know if you heard, Raph, but I mean, I was talking about it earlier, but Marlon James is actually putting out a new book called The Disappearers.
Yeah, I heard you said that.
Disappearers? I don't know. It's,
I'll check it out when it comes out or whatever.
But yeah, no, it's I'm leaning on my next Marlon James read to be the Book of Night Women. So we'll see how that goes.
That one is very, very violent, graphically violent. It's about mostly like a slavery uprising in Jamaica. So
we'll say, well, it's about slavery, so I mean, it's not going to be like a pleasant read for the most part.
No, it definitely is not, and you get
well, unlike Good Lord Bird, which like has a good sense of humor about it, or well, the characters anyway, not the subject. I mean,
Yeah, Marlon James is not the humorous kind. You know,
He's more like in the sassy humor than anything else.
well, in this case, it's just straight up, the different layers of exploitation because there's a
Oh, I thought it was about a slave and a master getting together for whatever reason.
yes and no. So,
Well, getting together because there's that whole
but like
can't really bang your property,
No,
really.
it is in fact the slave overseer and not the actual master, which is a difference. Obviously, plantation overseer not being the actual owner. And that slave overseer is Irish. So there is another layer of racism going on there with the actual plantation owners, obviously looking down on the overseer who still, experiences racism and still is also racist towards the black slaves. So there's nuance there, but it's still
don't really
dark.
like the Irish much either. Is like I said, relationship because again,
it's a good book, but it's definitely a dark book.
Can't really get consent from somebody you own, which there you go. There you are, John. Hello.
There I am.
Yeah. And you're right, it's called The Disappearers.
Disappearers, yeah.
Comes out in September.
But yeah, no, it's mainly yes. Also, hello, Ori. How you doing? I saw you commented on my 5 things I'd like to see more of in fantasy. Which I didn't respond to, not because it wasn't a good comment or anything. I didn't have enough time to kind of come up with a good response for it.
All right, this is going to be another very, very dark book by Marlon James. It's about a murder of a gay man in 1980s Jamaica.
I was supposed to say, well, it is Marlon James. I mean, if it's not dark, then I'd be kind of like, what? Like, why are you? Oh, John is gone again. I guess his computer is being weird on him. No, but oh, I think he's talking about that new Revolutionary War thing that's like AI. No, he's talking about something else, I think. Ori. Which I'm not gonna watch that because I mean I saw the trailer and it just looked horrible. It just looked horribly bad, like laughably bad. John again.
All right, I'm gonna stay back.
But yeah, no, it looked really bad.
Hello, guys.
Hey,
how you doing, John? I haven't seen I've seen John Adams, which has funnily enough, it has damn it, what's that dude's name? He was Cornwallis in The Patriot, which I always think is hilarious because if you want to get technical, he was on both sides of the revolution. Pretty good depiction of everyone who was in it. Like it captured him pretty well. Like someone mentioned, I think it was Caleb mentioned earlier. The guy who played Stannis Baratheon plays Thomas Jefferson. It's quite good. Paul Giamatti plays John Adams and does it very well, actually.
All right.
Yeah, no, I don't watch
Paul Giamatti. I'm drinking wine, Raph. Like, what was that Paul Giamatti movie that was popular?
Oh, Sideways.
Cheers to you. Yeah, he didn't like Merlot. Cheers to you, Raph.
Cheers.
Yeah, I mean, it's hold on. Let me find what's that dude's name? It's gonna drive me nuts until I know it. No, not the. Oh my god. Well, I think Raph just recently made a video about a brief history of AI.
No, he still hasn't finished that.
Or well, he made something about AI. You go watch it that he put out. I don't know what it is.
I mean, I've been playing around with like different things around AI, and there's still like a sort of like large AI video hopefully coming. But there's a lot of stuff in there that makes it kind of difficult to get it all done.
Yeah,
Let me see.
doesn't
Tom
seem to-
Wilkinson, that's the guy's name. Good actor. Again, was also in The Patriot, which I will never not find hilarious. That he was both Benjamin Franklin and General Cornwallis, basically opposite sides of the Revolution. But you know, one's a bit more historically authentic than the other.
Is it? Who would have thought?
I'll let you decide which one's which. I actually think I've mentioned this a couple times in a few streams and discussions I've had, but I kind of find some of the fears about AI are a bit overblown. I'm just like, did you guys? I hate to mention this because I don't like this movie, but have you guys ever watched? You guys never watched The Matrix? Like they warned us about this
Matrix
exact
is
attitude,
a good movie.
and people are freaking doing it. It's like, good God, it's like we don't freaking watch these sci-fi movies.
Yeah, things are getting scary, Oki. I mean, the tech that they can do, what they can do is crazy. I mean, they can read your mind remotely. You can check all the fact checking on these things, the things that they can do. They can move your body parts remotely by microwave energy. Things that they can do to people, which they admit they can, are crazy. But, I mean, I'm just...
Yeah, no. I mean, hey, maybe we're AI. Who knows? No, I'm just kidding. Or am I?
I doubt
No.
it. I hope
But
not.
yeah, no. I mean, I'm sure Raph is not hysterical. I'm sure his video about AI will be very informative as always. But it's yeah, I just get kind of annoyed when everyone's like, "Oh no, the AI," and I'm like, look, it's not fucking AI. I've said this dozens of times. It is not fucking AI. It is still a machine carrying out a function. It is not sentient. I don't know how many times I have to tell people this because there's always
At
people
the
like,
end of the
"Oh."
day, AI as a term, artificial intelligence has always been a marketing term.
Well, okay, that's fair. I'm not going to argue that, but
No, literally, that's how the term came together. Because in 1956, I think it was 56, John McCarthy. It's always bad when someone called McCarthy is involved, and some others. Claude Shannon is involved. A bunch of other people who are doing stuff with
hey, Joe,
computers.
I was actually talking
so
about you
forth.
earlier.
So they want to have like an academic conference on the subject of what with machines and then thinking and stuff. And they don't have like an actual title, but they want to get funding so they can do that at Dartmouth College, right? So they write a proposal, and the term that has been around for a while is cybernetics, but they all hate Norbert Wiener, who came up with that one, and they don't want to invite him, so they have to come up with a different term. And at the outset, they could talk about like automaton theory, and then they realized that doesn't actually, that doesn't sound catchy enough to actually get university funding for it. And that's when they settle on the term artificial intelligence and write it in that first proposal. That's the first time the term comes up, and they literally choose that term artificial intelligence because they hope that it will get them funding for that conference, which it does. That's why it has always been from the start, it has always been a marketing term.
But yeah, anyway, going back to my rant, it's so stupid when I hear people say that, because I'm like, it's not fucking AI, okay? It's just, it is a machine carrying out a function. That has been happening since, which there's some people who might nitpick that, and that's fine. I don't really care at this point, but it's not AI, okay? So quit acting like this is fucking Skynet, because it's not.
The thing is, it doesn't have to be Skynet.
It's more like HAL 9000, which is a bit scary on its own, which is quite scary on its own merits. But
it's not even HAL 9000.
If it makes a decision like based on patterns and that work, couldn't that be considered intelligence? Like if it makes a decision based on repeated patterns and you follow this way and it works, that's probably what AI is, and that's why it's successful. But maybe you're right. Maybe you can't call it an artificial intelligence.
Yeah,
but success is based on like the data versus processing power.
I mean, the problem there is, of course, that there is no actual universally accepted definition of intelligence either. Psychologists have no definition of what intelligence is. Neuroscientists have no definition of what intelligence is. Biologists have no definition of what intelligence is. So artificial intelligence is like, we have an artificial version of that thing that we don't know what it is. And that's kind of the problem to begin with, right?
We have some things like female and stuff like that. That was a joke. And then make them stick.
No.
JC in the chat.
I guess I kind of think of it like sentience. Like I'm a person. I know I'm a person. I know that I'm a human being. I know that I exist.
Yeah.
But does a computer know that? No, it does not know that.
But that's like a different thing, right? Like, there are different, obviously there are different sort of like definitions of specific forms of intelligence, right? Like, logic solving, pattern matching, those are obviously all things that can be called intelligence up to a point. But that's not consciousness. And the whole, like, the cogito ergo sum part, the knowing that it is you who does the thinking. That part is something that we haven't figured out why humans have that. We don't know why human consciousness exists. We don't know where it comes from. It is still unsolved. There are, different theories of, it being like an emergent property of the brain in all kinds of ways. There are different interesting theories of what it is, but we don't know. So we don't know how to get it in machines and whether that is the thing that makes a machine intelligent. We just don't actually know. And right now what we're doing is basically trying to create something that thinks like a human, because our definition of what it means to be intelligent is based on what humans do. So there's a lot of like weird shit going on.
Okay, so let's take it like this. So the definition of artificial intelligence with a computer is data and processing power. So does that what equals with humans? So is that whatever our processing power and data, is that what makes intelligence? Because that's what it seems to be. They're saying it makes. You see what I'm saying? Like the AI is data processing, and
but doesn't it also involve some sort of like intent?
Yeah, hey, that you're right. I got you. So like, where are you guiding this intelligence, or what you form from your opinions? Where are you guiding it to? I get that. That's the part of what makes what general AI, right? AGI.
Yeah. The problem is, of course, that the term general intelligence that they are using for that is something that a specific group of people who are doing intelligence research in quotes, were doing, and they needed to define that, and for reasons that are very much unrelated to anything that is going on with AI right now. All of those people were part of the eugenics society.
Well, I just wanted to clear up what the definition is of artificial general intelligence per what the AI people say. I mean, fact check me. But from what I know, my opinion of it is that they say that it's if you have a artificial intelligence that you can say, hey, go do my laundry or go set this up and that up. It's not just based on one like large language model writing or like genetic code doing or like computer code doing. If you can do all of them at once and like guide which one it needs to do, then that's artificial general intelligence. And what the
sort of once again, it's like a very weird sort of definition. OpenAI's definition of artificial general intelligence that was on their website, they may have changed it by now, was a machine that surpasses humans at most economically relevant tasks. which is a very, very limited definition of intelligent, right? Because you need to define what means economically relevant. And I'm like, well, there's a lot of stuff that I would consider, economically relevant that has nothing to do with intelligence. There's a lot of stuff that has to do with intelligence that is probably not economically relevant, right?
They're trying to make everything economically relevant.
Yeah, no, it's Ida. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but once the genie, it's like the nuclear bomb. Once the genie's out of the box, you can't put it back in. So we're kind of stuck with it at this point.
Yes and no.
At least in my opinion. Maybe Ralph.
I mean, the technology, like the technology of large language models, is here and will probably stay around in one way or another. However, those large multimodal general big models, GPT for OpenAI, and Claude for what's their face, Anthropic, and obviously Grok for XAI. Those I don't know if all of them will be around, because they are insanely expensive to run, and all of those companies right now are losing fuck tons of money. Absolute bonkers. That is not sustainable. So either they will raise the prices for everyone who wants to use Claude or ChatGPT or Grok. Either they'll raise the prices for everyone, which will lead to a lot of people not using it, because most people fucking around with them are doing it because it's free, right? Like very few people will pay $100 for that per month, and that's still not where that stuff will be economically viable. So there's a good chance that those big models will fail, and you'll get like very specific smaller models that are trained to do one specific thing very well.
From what I know about AI, from what in my mind is that they're not only losing money, but they're spending more money to try to research what they can do and what they like. So they're spending way more money, like investing versus how much the company's worth is nothing. And that's a big joke on even what they say in headlines today. But it's because it's not about that. Which team wins? Of course. One of them is going to figure out how to control and manipulate us, and to be able to divide and see, we have all the information. Well, we can just do whatever our what's the name of the guy that did it? Whatever his name is. They'll try to manipulate, control what's going on now in order to figure out how to advertise to us, how to make us divide us, how to that type of stuff. And they're going to be able to do it. Which one can will be the one that's cemented, and Palantir is already cemented.
I mean, the problem right now is that they won't, like, what they're doing right now is they're using large language models, and their idea is that if you scale that thing up as much as possible, at some point, true intelligence, artificial general intelligence, and superintelligence will just emerge from that. They're still hoping for like intelligence as an emergent property. If they just make the thing large enough and give it enough training data and so forth, they hope that will happen.
Yeah, like it already existed. That's another argument they say. Like artificial intelligence already existed, whether it's on this planet or this one.
Yeah, that's another thing. But the companies working on these large language models right now are still stuck in the idea that they just need to scale up the thing they have right now, and then at some point, almost magically, that next step will happen. And there's no guarantee that that's the case. In fact, there's like very, very good arguments that that's not where you need to go, but they're stuck in that paradigm. So as long as they just keep pumping more money into making the thing bigger, I think we're pretty safe.
I was going to say, hello, Mac. How you doing? Oh, sorry. Hello, Mac. How you doing? It's like that meme, when you go, oh, I won't get political, and like 3 drinks later, dude's ranting about something. That's me with AI. I'll be like, I won't talk about AI, and like 3 drinks later, I'm like, oh my god, AI, and I start getting pissed off at everyone who's all like, oh AI. Anyway, it's it's a whole mess.
He is a mess.
What are you, Gollum?
Hey, Mac.
He needs it. I can't do a good Gollum voice. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's important to realize that the current version of AI, that being both generative AI and of course all the other elements that you can do with large language models. They are powerful tools for specific things, but they are not going to take over and turn us all into fucking paper clips or whatever. That's not going to happen.
Just imagine human paper clips. Just fleshy little paper clips.
Oh, you don't know the paperclip machine example?
Oh no, I don't.
That's so here's the thing. That's the one that everyone always brings up as an example of why we need to make sure that our super intelligence is well aligned and does the correct things and so forth and doesn't hate us all. Because what if we have a super intelligent AI and we give it the job to make paperclips, to make as much paperclips as possible? What if it then basically will turn like everything into paperclips, including us, until the entire universe just consists of paperclips and nothing else? It is as stupid as that. It shows up in Super Intelligence by Nick Bostrom. He came up with that fucking example, which is at its core just
Matt,
the Sorcerer's Apprentice story.
About that book, and then I always hear from you that like Nick Bostrom's like a racist or something.
Well, he's that, but he's also just really bad at philosophy.
I'll have to read that then. I don't know. Anyway.
It's not a good book. Like, if you want to understand what is going on in artificial intelligence right now, you don't need to read Nick Bostrom. If you want to understand why so many of those people are insane, then yes, you kind of have to read Nick Bostrom. But if you just want to understand like AI technology and stuff right now, then I think something like either Empire of AI by Karen Howe from last year, or Atlas of AI by I need to check her name, different name. But it's something Crawford, I think. Too close to Karen Howe, so I confuse the names of. Give me a second. Those are like books that will explain the situation right now much better.
Yeah, I know. It's just I don't know. You guys know this already, or audience probably, but yeah, it's just something that annoys me when people are like, "Oh no," and I'm just like, guys, it's okay,
it's by Kate Crawford, Atlas of AI. That's a bit older, or Empire of AI by Karen Howe from last year. That one also has a lot of stuff on specifically the history of OpenAI and the struggles within OpenAI between Sam Altman and Elon Musk and all of those people, and how that impacts the evolution of and the development of AI. That's a very good book if you want to learn stuff. And Karen Howe is, studied computer science and stuff at MIT, and is a reporter for the MIT Tech Report and stuff like that. She knows the technology, right? She's not just a business reporter trying to talk about AI. So she understands. She gives you like an introduction to like the actual tech, how that stuff works. Explains what like what a transformer actually is, all of that stuff.
I mean, when I get AI, when I go through some AI Bojangles person trying to sell me something, I can't stand that stuff. And then, if I'm trying to talk on the phone with someone and I have to deal with AI, it actually gives me anger. So I understand what you mean about AI. I actually have a visceral anger against it and what it does, and I understand.
Yeah, but I think it's important to understand that it is right now. It is bad. It's bad in most jobs. Like there's good reasons to hate it for all the things that it does and all the ways that all kinds of people will just use it to replace workers and all of that kind of stuff. AI will make the world bad and considerably worse, but it is not going to take over and become like fucking Skynet. That is not in the books, right? It can just be bad in other ways and frustrating in all kinds of ways. So hating it, totally fine. Just don't fear it in that regard. Like it's not going to take over.
I get what you're saying, because if we allow it to with what we know it can do, then we're the dumb ones. If it does take over, it's our damn fault that we don't sandbox it or whatever they call it.
Mac, is the Night of Seven Kingdoms show is the Duncan Egg show actually good? Because I've been kind of burned out on Song of Ice and Fire adaptations. Just kind of, I'm just like I've been kind of burned by it a few times. I don't really know if I. I do like the Dunk and Egg stories. I think those are really good. I think it's really I think it's overlooked
also-
actually.
I think what helps with the Duncan Egg stories, which may also help with the show, is they are all very self-contained. You know, you can.
I kind of like to call it his version of Foffer and the Grey Mouser, just not as horn doggy. We'll just say.
Yeah, I mean there's an almost like YA level to it, with both of them being relatively young and everything, right? Like compared to like the level of like graphic sexuality and nudity and so forth that you get in like the actual like Song of Ice and Fire. The the Duncan Egg stories are almost tame, even compared to other stuff that Martin has written. So that is definitely a thing there. And yes, Ori, you are right. Romantasy authors are economically relevant. So the question is, can AI write better romantasy than, say, I don't know, Fourth Wing? And have we reached super intelligence as soon as it can do that?
I would hope you could. I haven't read Fourth Wing.
No, me neither.
I wouldn't. It's not a very good book.
Didn't you?
At least what I read so far was not very good.
Thing is, I've read so many books over the years that are not very good. I don't think it. You know, I don't think it will be uniquely bad compared to some of the stuff that I've read over the years. You know.
Yeah, it's yeah, but yeah, no, I do like the Duncan Egg stories. I think they're quite good. Again, if you're a fan of like Foffer and the Grey Mouser, but you know, don't want to be quite as sometimes weird as it can get. Well, it can be weird in a delightful way, but sometimes weird in a not so delightful way. You know, give it a crack. It's a good time.
Yeah. I mean, at least so far in Duncan Egg, no one is getting really, really horny about spiders. So there's that.
Well, yeah, there's always that.
That is like one of the weirdest and funniest stories in that whole. I mean, obviously the funniest one is Lean Times in Lankmar. That one is probably the funniest.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Story.
Yeah, you know, I remember Tori read or at least a little bit of it a while back, and I was just kind of like, oh man, you know, it's I mean, sure, it's treatment of women is not like, you know, PC by any stretch, but there's still some really great stories in there.
Misogyny jokes are always good, in my opinion. And I don't knock women at all, but I just appreciate a good joke like that. It's fun. More than all the racist and trans jokes. It's just
yeah, but anyway, it's
that's a hot take. That's definitely a hot take. But I'm just saying, everyone's a little bit too snowflakey nowadays, anyhow. Honestly.
Well, yeah, no, I'm just kidding. Sorry, I'm just looking through here, checking on my books here. Yeah,
I was reading some really good last week. The Score: How to Stop Playing Someone Else's Game by C.T. Nguyen. On, you know, games and rules in games and rules in the world and scoring metrics in the world and metrics in games, and why some are cool and some are not so cool. And it's a good book. It came out like last month, so I don't know. I enjoyed it, except for the part where he manages to not quote David Graeber.
That sounds like a pretty useless book to want to read or topic. I mean, with gaming, like don't use someone else's game. I don't understand what it means.
So the idea is that games are places where we make up rules, and that games are more fun the stricter the rules are. Whereas in outside of games, rules suddenly and stricter rules actually are more lead to more problems. So the question is like, why are rules sometimes good and sometimes bad, and what can we learn from that? That's kind of it's philosophy, right? The man is a philosophy professor at a university in Utah.
It's a weird triangle to go out into some philosophy. Never mind. I'm just saying that's a useless thing to put your mind against. That right there.
I haven't read Ray Naylor. I'll have to add that to my ever.
Yeah, he comes up a lot, and I have managed to ignore him so far. Oh, on the paperclip maximizing thing, right? I find myself from time to time.
Yeah, again, I'm quite fascinated with consciousness and all that fun stuff. So there you go.
You are. Yeah. You can read what's his face, David Chalmers on consciousness. That's a relatively good one, relatively new one.
All right, I shall add that to the always expanding.
Does consciousness equal intelligence? Is probably what Britton said. Maybe.
Wait a minute. So what's the book called, Raph? It's called On Consciousness?
I think it is just called On Consciousness or Consciousness, a Theory. Let me check. It's by David J. Chalmers, and Chalmers is spelled Chalmers.
It says the character of consciousness. Could that be it?
No, the conscious mind in search of a fundamental theory.
Oh, is that it? Oh, okay. I'll add that then. Ye shall find.
It's like beware. It's like 500-600 pages of academic philosophy.
Oh, I hate this. Anyway, it's it's just a subject that interests me. Hello to Everyman Reads, also known as Jonathan or John, and of course Joe's still here. I've used Copilot, but mainly with like proofreading stuff that I've written. So don't crucify me, everyone.
Well, I mean that's stuff where like large language models can actually help. So,
Hey, people can get real hard on it, People can go like really hard line about it. So I'm just saying.
And bots, Raph.
Take care, Chadia. Have a good rest.
Good night, Chadia.
It's
Right,
I'm gonna get myself another beer, and I'll be back in a minute or so.
All right. I'm adding all this. I'm trying to add all the stuff I haven't added my 5-star list yet on Goodreads here while I'm doing this. So sorry if I seem a little distracted, but glad to have everyone here.
I'm having fun.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, Raph's good dude.
I don't know what Claude is, but that's interesting to know. But yeah, just
the chat bot that John Delarose used to write his books. Claude, it's a chat.
I will say though, Joe, I saw you like my post where I was talking about Devin Erickson getting roasted by John Cleese. That was fantastic. That was so fun to see. I'm like, thank you, God, whatever runs this universe. I'm just so. I just thank you. I'm so glad that this has happened.
What has happened?
Oh, if you remember, Devin Erickson, the that
Cheers,
guy
Rob.
who got kicked out of the that sci-fi competition, whatever, basically Spiffbo for sci-fi. I guess he got into a bit of a he got into a bit of a spat with John Cleese of Monty Python fame. and John Cleese just absolutely wiped the floor with them. It was great. It was fantastic.
But aren't they both sort of like politically on the same side? Like,
I don't
isn't
think
like
so.
John? I mean, John Cleese has gotten more and more conservative over the years, hasn't he?
Yeah, a little bit
on Twitter.
I don't know. John Cleese is cool. He's pretty funny.
But no, it was pretty funny. He was just kind of going on. It was about like criticizing Christianity versus criticizing Islam, because he was talking about, because John Cleese has been talking about recently this idea of Islamist skepticism as opposed to Islamophobia, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's okay, interesting. I mean, I'm not gonna get into that because it just sounds like a debacle, but and then. Yeah, no, but yeah, I don't like Devin Erickson. I've seen some of his tweets, and they're rather deranged, I would say. Which, in my opinion, there might be some people who take that seriously. Which, if you do, God bless you. That's all I'll say about that.
Yeah, but I'm fine with that.
The Britton live stream is meant for books of politics.
Aren't always. No, but it's excuse me. It's geez, man, I've missed a couple of these 5-star books here. Anyway, yeah, no, I get the sense from Cleese he's like one of those like old school progressives who just doesn't understand this like woke shit that's going on.
I am so anti-woke. That's my biggest sin for me being ideological. I'm so anti-woke. I just fight it tooth nail. It just defeats everything of like trying to be funny about stuff and what the tension is behind it. And you just get canceled for something you do that no one understands. I can't do it. So that's where I'm ideological and even socio-political when it comes to anti-woke. No. But
anyway, I don't really like Devin Erickson.
I just didn't pay attention to that whole drama because I'm not in that. I'm not on Twitter.
That's fair. Twitter is kind of a play. It's a play.
I haven't been active on Twitter in a long time, and I'm not active in those both like the sci-fi competition or the fantasy one. It's like I don't pay attention to any of that. So I was like, okay, something happened there. From what I could tell, the way he was kicked out felt sort of like somewhat sketchy, but also well deserved. It's like, yeah, it didn't go by the rules because the rules weren't yet there, but you clearly are an asshole. And there should be a fundamental no assholes rule in those kind of volunteer run kind of things. It's like,
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of, I don't know how to put it, but it's just kind of, I mean, the culture war is just cancerous. So there's one. Which again, you might be thinking, wow, Britton, that's a real profound revelation there, but it's,
I mean, at the end of the day, I try to not pay attention to those kind of things because I feel like there's so much like other like fundamental stuff that is fucked up with the world.
You got that. Let's be on that, Raph. If we were fighting in the streets instead of paid protesters in Minnesota when Trump don't need to send that many troops to Minnesota, it's all on purpose, crazy stuff. Like, I mean,
I don't think there have been any paid protesters anywhere. I wish protesters would be paid, but so far that hasn't happened anywhere.
I know, because you're a Marxist, Raph. You pay protesters. That's
we don't.
What Marxism's all about. Yes,
That
divide and conquer. Sow some shade on the current administration, and
I
then
don't think a
change
lot
it
of
I
the
people
way
mean,
you
like
want.
to. I don't think you really need to pay anybody to talk
yeah.
crap about the
Hey,
current
I'm
administration.
not a Trump fan. I mean, I think it's all on purpose. Like
I was like,
no
I
one
don't think you need to do that.
know more about that, but
It's kind of it's honestly kind of changed meanings over the years, Ori. It's like the other day there was an article about who was it? It was Matthew Stafford, the football player. He was like, "Whoa, did you know that this systematic inequality existed?" And I just kind of face palmed. I was just like,
Yeah, no shit.
Good God,
systematic
man.
inequality. That's funny.
It was like, oh, do you know like the police? It's like that. It's like that kid in college or high school figures out like like systematic racism still a thing, and they're like, what? Yeah, it's like it was like that. I just kind of had to face palm for a
And
minute.
I think like the problem there, Britton, is that it's depending on who you are and where you grow up, it's very easy to not realize these kind of things because you don't necessarily encounter them, right? Like
Mhm.
you don't like if you grow up in a place that is very like racially homogenous, like if you grow up in a white place with like, and you don't encounter in an American context, I guess, if you don't encounter black kids as a kid, you just grow up around white kids. Like, how do you learn about systemic racism? It's not going to, happen unless you start watching the news and so forth. That's usually something that happens once you go to college or whatever and encounter people from outside of your like very specific local sort of like bubble of people. And I get that sometimes that comes later. I would argue that if you are already like a professional football player, it could have happened a bit earlier. But I think it's, there are some things that you kind of need to come up against in an almost physical way before you fully sort of like internalize it, because you're like, yeah, of course of course racism exists, and until you sort of like experience it in like either having it happen to a friend or whatever, like you don't necessarily see like it doesn't become sort of, I don't want to say visceral, but it's hard to sort of like make it personal, and you kind of have to sort of make it personal for yourself, that experience, whether it is by actually experiencing it or whether it is by having it happen to someone close to you, I guess. And that is fucked up in its own way, but I think
See, I think there's way too many white people experiencing racism for black people. I mean, I write some jokes that are like a little bit semi-racist, like dad jokes, not anything crazy. But I mean, I'm not afraid to do that. And when I tell them to white people, they're the ones that get more offended. But the black people I tell them to, that's just funny. It's stupid. Like and they're the ones that they're the ones to be able to look me in my face and realize that I'm their friend, and I'm no threat to them. But it's the white people that want a virtue signal, that want to act like I'm nothing because of that. And things.
I don't know. I mean, there's like layers to that kind of stuff, right? Like in a sense that there is that stage when you realize that like racism is a thing and systemic racism is a thing.
It is a thing.
And then there is that moment where you need to figure out what to do about it, and
but it's
feeling
getting
bad about
so much
racism.
better than back in 94 and 95 when I was young. Black racism, misogyny, everything, gay stuff. Teachers would call people the F word and would let it be thrown around in schools. But now that's not there. It's not there anymore. From what they're trying to act like more than what it is. I mean, really, I got called the F word, and the teachers never did anything about it back in the 90s, Gen X.
Well, it's probably a good thing that it's
It
not
taught me
used
how to be
so
strong.
flippantly anymore.
Ugh. Strong, and then like that's how you get stuff done. That's how you get the what do you call it, the protest in New York that have made it happen. You don't get stuff done by being a victim. You get stuff done by being strong, and like not letting things bother you.
I think more in the case of protests, it's like, well, this is bothering us. We don't want it to bother us anymore. We're gonna do something about it.
Yeah. Hey, Max Garfield. Like, yes, I'm sorry. The All Tomorrow's Parties video is delayed. I recorded it today, and then some of the files got corrupted. I'm trying to figure out if I can salvage it. Otherwise, I'll have to re-record it, because otherwise it would have been up today. But yeah, something went wrong with the files, so I guess I have to re-record it. But I am very, very happy with the books. I really, really enjoyed them, and they have aged surprisingly well. In some cases, I would argue almost too well. Like, you know,
that's kind of frightening.
Yeah, there's this big bad guy who's also creepy, and he's described as a mix of Woody Allen and Bill Gates, and that is written in 1999. And you read this in 2026, right after the Epstein files have been, put out. You're like, oh fuck. That's what I mean by aged too well, because
Oh man, that aged well, all right.
Now, there's other bits in there that have obviously aged very well as well, because William Gibson has always been very good at this sort of like extrapolation when it comes to society in a lot of ways. And you have basically have tech billionaires that are playing around with technology. It's not AI in the Bridge trilogy, it's nanotechnology. It's like, well, this is going to be like a big technical revolution, and the world will be changed once we start using this technology. And they're very explicitly saying that, yes, we want to change the world, but we want to make sure that we'll be in charge afterwards, just as we are right now. And, looking at, say, people like Elon Musk and Peter Thiel, that's exactly what they're doing as well, right? It's not, far from the mark, is what I'm saying. It's a really good trilogy.
Well, if things are slightly better, that means things are looking up, actually. But no, it's not really looking too great right now.
The thing is, if things are better now than they were in the past, that doesn't mean that we should stop. It means that we should continue. So, in 10 years, we can go like, well, remember the bad old days of 2026. Now we are in a place that is slightly better. And then you continue doing that, because it's an ongoing thing to make stuff better every day. That I think is at the core of it.
Hello? So there's an echo. I don't know where that's coming from. So
I would argue it's probably John having speakers or open headphones or something, or something like that. Because I have very closed headphones, so it can't be.
Excuse me. Oh, geez. Okay. Well, just
you can just.
There you go. I'll just wait for. I'll just wait for him to come back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been kind of a chaotic. It's been kind of a chaotic 2026 so far.
You think? Sad but true. Hey.
Oh, there it's coming back. But yeah, it's been kind of chaotic 2026 so far. Which you might think, wow, Britton, again, just you're really hitting the head there. But no, it's like, really, it's been kind of crazy.
Yeah.
With the Epstein files and all that, and I don't know.
I'm really looking forward to the Soccer World Cup, where Canada, the US, and Mexico need to work together. That's going to be so much fun.
What do you think about Noam Chomsky being on the files? You think he was involved in some weird shit, or you think he was just like
Epstein files?
I haven't looked into it deeper. I haven't really been a big fan of Chomsky's in a long time. And that's like the thing, like, the stuff he wrote in like the 60s, 70s, his stuff in linguistics, and his stuff in politics and so forth. You can keep that and go like, well, this was clearly relevant, but everything, like most things he said in the last, I don't know, 15 years or so, I can ignore that and go like, well, like, you know, the whole like separating the art from the artist may be difficult, but when it comes to stuff like science and in academia, I'm like, yeah, well, you know, Chomsky's linguistics are relevant no matter how fucked up the guy was, right? So I don't know. I've never seen him as this sort of like idol of the left, but maybe that's like a European versus American thing in a way. So
I've never really been a fan of Chomsky myself.
Me neither. Even when I was halfway liberal.
Well, I mean, like manufacturing consent is a relevant text, and it will always remain a relevant text. And the stuff he did like before that in linguistics is just, you know, stuff that you have to read Chomsky when it comes to context-free grammars and stuff like that when you're studying computer science. That's where I first encountered Noam Chomsky. Was not in politics; it was in computer science, because you know it was that the same way that like you still have to sort of like encounter Richard Dawkins, even if you're like you know,
Richard Dawkins. Never mind.
Like Dawkins, who's also in the Epstein files, because of course he is, right?
Oh Lord! Oh no!
So is what's the guy's name? The guy in the wheelchair that black hole guy. Stephen Hawking.
I know Lawrence Cross is also in it. I'm like, dude, who isn't in the Epstein files? Good God, man!
But that's like the other thing, right? It's like
here's my question though: if Stephen Hawking is in the ones now, why isn't anyone talking about it? Like maybe I have not gone and Googled him, but let's Google him.
Well, Stephen Hawking is dead, so what you're going to do about it, right? And Lawrence Krauss has had his own sort of like. We already knew that Lawrence Krauss is a sex pest. That has been out long before we knew about his, you know, stuff with.
Yeah, I always thought there was something off about that guy.
Nothing new about Lawrence Krauss as being a sex pest. That has been, you know, out there for a long time. So
in the ether.
You know, no, it didn't. I mean, he was like. He didn't lose his position, but he was certainly like he had actual consequences at his university for being creepy and harassing. And I don't know how far it did because I never dug too deep into it, but like there were actual consequences at his university about his behavior when it comes to sexual assault. So, you know,
nice.
Yeah, that I said, like it's not just a rumor. That stuff has been out for a long time.
I mean, I knew he got accused of stuff, but damn.
Yeah, certainly seriously accused in a way that, you know, was taken seriously at the time, and you know. But the other part is, of course, that that like there's several layers to that. On the one hand, Epstein actively did fund a lot of like research and stuff. Like he pushed a lot of money into all kinds of universities and research stuff. So.
The weird research, you know, like what they're talking about, like, you know, the genetic stuff, the crazy stuff.
Yeah, but like generally,
got a lot of funding towards that crazy research that shouldn't be going on, that it is.
Yeah,
what
but
it looks like.
Yeah, that definitely, like he did some eugenics weird shit as well. That's true. But like the thing is, very rich people spend a lot of money on science stuff because it's, you know, tax deductible and makes them look good and all of that kind of shit. So you are in that circle of people automatically. If you are a top researcher and relatively famous in your field of science, chances are you've had contact to a fuck ton of billionaires. Well, that's just like how it is. So there are connections there. I assume there are connections between Epstein and different scientists that are relatively harmless and go nowhere beyond, well, he's a rich donor to my university and I got money for a research project, and that's that. And then there are, of course, people where that stuff goes deeper. Obviously,
why give billions to a billionaire when you can catch him doing something crazy and make him do whatever the hell you want him to do? That's probably what really, it's all about.
My main, sorry. I was going to just say my main point is not a fan of Chomsky. but you know, I don't know if he was involved in any weird shit. It doesn't look like it, from at least so far, till evidence suggests otherwise.
I don't know. I mean, it's fucked up, but at the end of the day, it's like, well, you know, it's elites. What you expect, right? At the end of the day, I'm glad this stuff is, you know, being put out there. People can talk about it and so forth. I think that's important and all of that. But you know, if it leads to a couple of monarchies being toppled, I am certainly not saying anything against that. But you know,
yeah, no, I had a friend of mine who compared the colonies to the Epstein Islands the other day, and I'm like, I don't really think that's accurate, but okay, if you want to, I mean, if you think that, whatever. But you know, it's I mean, I don't know. It's just yeah, it's just that's just a whole that's just sick. I'll just say that. I'll just keep it there.
Crazy world.
Well, you know, when you get bombarded with, you know, shit all the time, you get kind of used to it after a while, Ida.
I was seeing some guys that were talking about how it started off like, well, it's gotten to be where they can't tell you anything that they do without, they have to let you know what they do in order to get away with doing it. Like whether it's like, it's called something with magic. Like you probably know what I'm talking about, Ralph, like a lesser form of magic. Like you tell them what you're going to do before you do it to them, and then you get away with it. And I mean, that's what it is today. And this is like, hey, we're doing this and we're going to do whatever we want to, whether it's a P. Diddy or this guy or whatever. But that's a hot take, I know.
I don't know. I think it's very fucked up, and there need to be consequences. The problem is, of course, that right now there will be no consequences because too many people in power, at least in the US, are too implicated in the whole thing, and there is no actual interest. Like the people who can change things are not willing to do that, so it'll go nowhere, and that is highly frustrating.
I'm in that nothing will ever happen category. Black pill or whatever they call it. I could be considered that.
And at the end of the day, like, I want consequences for everyone involved, but I'm sitting here in Germany, and my options are very, very limited when it comes to that. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, you guys, I've got to go, but
All right.
It was nice hanging out with you guys.
It was good seeing you, John.
Later, man. It was a lot of fun.
It's good finally meeting you.
Well,
Yes,
see you
sir.
around, man.
All right, bye.
So what else have you been reading, Raph, aside from William Gibson?
Well, as I said, I read The Score by C.T. Nguyen, and I just finished Rules, A Short History of What We Live by Lorraine Dawson, however you pronounce her name, which is a history of rules, norms, and regulations, and how they differ, and so forth.
I haven't heard of that.
Well, it's good. It's interesting. I think The Score is definitely worth reading. What else did I read recently? There was something else, and I'm really good at forgetting stuff. Let me check this Goodreads thing. I have started Boy with Accidental Dinosaur by Ian McDonald.
Oh yeah, has that been any good? I saw some mixed reviews on it.
My favorite review on Goodreads was someone complaining that he had to look up too many words, so the prose style was clearly bad. And I'm like, I don't know if that's how reading works. Oh yeah, I did reread Frederick Jameson and Anna Kornblue, so there's that. No, so far I like Boy with Accidental Dinosaur. it basically steals the opening from the road, but this time it's not the man and the kid, it's the kid and the dinosaur who are on that road. So that's good.
Interesting.
But I'll have more to say about it in the next couple of days because, it's a very short book. And once I figured out the All Tomorrow's Parties video, I will definitely make a video on this one.
Yeah, I most recently read The Jazz Ear by Ben Ratliff, which was pretty good.
Okay.
I also read A Rage in Harlem with the audiobook by Samuel L. Jackson, which is the other book about a black dude cross-dressing that I've read this month, because in The Good Lord Bird, there is also a young black man who is cross-dressing. So, I mean, I don't know. That was not on purpose. I don't know why that's there, but you know what? What are you going to do?
Yeah. I guess I'll have to read The Impusium by Olga Tokarczuk for my offline book club very soon, so that's going to be interesting. I don't know what else I'll read in the next couple of days. I mean, obviously I have to read Late Theory, Frederick Jameson, or The Persistence of Reading, or finish that because I have to write a review for it. And that is going to happen this week because there's a deadline for the 28th of February, and I'd better get my shit together before then.
Yeah, and I also figured out that I will be doing a reread on my case, but I'm going to be doing it as a buddy read with some of my subscribers of The Odyssey by Homer, since the new movie's going to be coming out.
Oh, yeah, I saw that on your post. Yeah, it's a fun book.
I'm probably gonna get that Fagles edition because I've seen some of the Emily Watson translation and it does not look good.
I think it kind of depends on what you're going for.
Or it seems rather plainly written, is what I'm getting at, or at least plainly translated.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Is like, are you going for textual accuracy or are you going for like poetic stuff? And those are different like qualities for like for what, depending on what you want to do with it, right? Like, does the choice of words matter because of like specific connotations, or does it matter because of like how it sounds? Do you want it to sound cool, or do you want it to be very, very accurate, or as accurate as you can get? And it's very difficult to do both, right? So
I would like to I'm more into if the words sound good rather than textual accuracy. I'm not very anal about that stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Is like you're not reading it for that purpose. You're reading it for enjoyment.
I'm not anal about accuracy. Is what I'm getting at.
Well, I mean, there are situations where you need to do that, right? Depending on what you're.
Well, sure. I mean, if it's like American slavery and it's a bunch of people walking around like, yes, sir, massa, and everyone's all like caricatured black people, I'd be like, yeah, that's pretty offensive.
No, my point is more like depending, like if you're reading it, for example, for a university course, it does depend on like, there are situations where you need to pay attention to how specific words are translated in case you are not capable of reading ancient Greek, which is, well, the case for most of us, I think. So in that situation, you need to go with probably the most contemporary and most accurate translation. But if you're reading it for enjoyment as a buddy read, then go for the one that, sounds cool.
Yeah, the Fagles one sounds interesting to me. Well, we'll see if that works out.
Don't remember, like,
I think it's the one before this recent one from Emily Watson.
Yeah. Thing is, like, I've read it in German and I've read it in English, so I would have to look up which translation I had in German, for example, because obviously,
Flashback. I put that on my to avoid reading list because I'm not reading that.
It's just not a very good book. Like,
it's pretty funny. I was watching hot takes about literature the other day, and it said like Hyperion is like not like the last books don't really whatever. And I was like, I'm not really a fan of Hyperion in the book. I thought it was just all right, but I'm just what are you gonna do?
I just don't necessarily get the idea of like hot takes. I'm like, well, in this world where we are all just pumping out our amateur opinions, right? I don't think these are hot takes if my opinion is different from yours. That's not a hot take.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but Britton, it's midnight here and my beer is running out.
Yeah, I was about to say I'm probably gonna start taking off soon because I I don't want to be here forever, and plus I'm still recovering from an illness, so I'm gonna try and get over that.
Yeah, Emily Wilson, not Watson, but yeah, What you gonna do with all those names that sound the same? That same way I always get confused with Kate Crawford and Karen Howe, and I'm like, those names are too close together. Kate and Karen, I always switch those up.
I don't know. It's gonna be a time.
Yeah, that is for sure.
Hot take is when you steal fire from the gods. Okay, I see what you did there. It's pretty good.
There's an entire really dumb joke about all of that in is that in Men at Arms? It might be. Where Terry Pratchett makes that really dumb joke about stealing fire from the gods, where he talks about like the guy who stole fire from the gods, but he was unable to fence it. It was too hot, and I'm like, you bastard. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what I'm gonna fit in. Oh, it's not Feet of Clay because that's no, it is Feet of Clay. That I'm gonna be reading next.
Book, yes.
Okay, I'm like that is the one I'm looking forward to. Yes. Okay, so that one I don't know when I'm gonna sneak that one in, but I'm gonna try to. Maybe April.
It will introduce a new pronoun.
Interesting.
To dwarfs.
Interesting.
It's really funny.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, and also I'm trying to figure out when I'll sneak in Color of Magic or The Light Fantastic as well. So just fun times. He got really burned on that deal. Really like the fun game.
No, that is all part of that one joke in the we couldn't fence it. It was too hard to fence. Yeah, he got really burnt on that deal. It's like, yeah,
So that's some good pun game right there.
What is really funny in the graphic novel, well, not graphic novel, the well illustrated shorter story that Pratchett wrote, which is of course The Last Hero. Cohen the Barbarian decides to bring fire back to the gods because it was already stolen.
Nah. I'll have to find that.
That one is, for a while, was hard to get because it was sort of like special thing, and it was out of print. But I think it has been reprinted at this point, and yeah, it has like a lot of illustrations and stuff, and it's relatively short, and it includes the watch in part and others. And of course, Cohen the Barbarian and the Silver Horde.
Sounds like he's busy. Sounds like he's busy.
Cohen?
Yes.
Cohen the Barbarian has the Silver Horde, which is all like a bunch of other old barbarian heroes. And yeah, they conquer the Agatean Empire at some point. And, it's Cohen doing stuff. But you haven't met Cohen the Barbarian yet.
No, I have not. I would like to.
He's in The Light Fantastic.
Oh, is he? Oh, wow.
Yes, indeed. And there he does barbarian stuff.
Well, that's good to know.
Well, I mean, he's Conan the Barbarian.
Yeah. Didn't he write the Trollbridge short story for like a Tolkien anthology or something like that?
I think it was in that Legends collection, which was edited, I think, by Robert Silverberg. I think that's where it first showed up, but he's been around in all kinds of other places by now. But Conan is also in Trollbridge.
Okay.
Good questions, Ori. Which book are you reading with all the pronouns? Like I've listened to audiobooks that have like neo-pronouns in them. It always really depends on what kind of neo-pronouns they are. And Alistair Reynolds, what's it called? Poseidon's Children, like Blue Remembered Earth, On the Steel Breeze, and whatever the third one was. That has neo-pronouns in it and worked fine.
Yeah, I know. I know that. I think it's Derry who says that the Trollbridge adaptation is probably the best like Discworld adaptation that's been. So.
Yeah, I mean, the advantage is that it is a short story, so you can adapt it relatively easily compared to the larger novels where a lot of stuff is happening. I mean, that's like something that is easy to overlook is like how much stuff Pratchett manages to cram into these novels. They're like, they're relatively short, like 300, 400 pages maximum, and they, especially with like Jingo, every time I read Jingo, I'm shocked by like how much stuff is in that novel.
Yeah, I haven't read that one yet.
Yeah, okay, now I have no idea. Does an audiobook exist for that one? Let me check.
Yeah, no problem, John. Glad you were able to make it. It was fun. Yeah, I thought about sneaking some of the standalones in there somewhere, or at least one of them, but I don't know. I'm already kind of full with the Discworld, so we'll see where it goes.
Well, it does have an audiobook, and it's narrated by Peter Kenny, which I think is the guy who does all the culture audiobooks as well. Okay, he did the Witcher books as well, so I know that.
Have you read all the Witcher books, Raph?
I have read several of the Witcher books. I haven't read the new one.
Yeah. I only read the first short story collection, so I don't know.
Yeah, Peter Kenny is also the guy who does the culture novel. So he's definitely a very good narrator. He's competent with language, is what I'm saying, but I have no idea how he does Slow Gods. Well, in that case, it obviously makes sense to take the same narrator. I saw it exists in audio. I guess I'll keep an eye out for it and see if I can sort of slip it in at some point. I still have to get to the Everlasting as well when it comes to books from last year. So, at least there are no books coming out until March. I know that. I think. Unless I once again get confused and the Best of Gene Wolfe is coming out.
I just get annoyed. It's like, okay, do you want it to be like an epic fantasy series? Do you want to be like a Elric or Conan thing where he's just wandering around solving stuff? Like, make up your damn mind.
With The Witcher.
Yes, The Witcher.
I just don't think they're very good. I mean, the short stories are fine, but the novels really suck. Okay, now the next book that I'm definitely going to read is None Such by Francis Spufford, which comes out on the 10th of March. On the 5th of March, there is, of course, The Ships of Merior coming out in audio, and I have pre-ordered that. But, you know, there are still some missing in that list.
I am probably going to read, after these two, probably going to read Jade City, which is the only fantasy series I'll be reading this year, and The Searcher from Tana French. So it's going to be fun. I've been looking forward to Jade City, actually. The Greenbone Saga, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, the 5 novels about Ciri, I've read those, and I just don't care for Ciri. I don't like... These books are stupid. The girl is really, really unlikable, and everyone is making such a big fuss about it, and I'm like, whatever. Now, The Witcher, not so good. So, yeah, I'll put the Slow Gods up there. See if I can
Is
get
Slow
like a
Gods?
credit
I
from
know it's called
somewhere.
Small Gods from
No,
Terry Pratchett.
Small Gods is Terry Pratchett. Slow Gods by Claire North is the book that Ori was talking about with all the different pronouns and wondering how the audiobook does handle them. I don't think I will ever read Project Hail Mary. I don't think it's the kind of book I find interesting. With the anti-memetics division, I'm not sure. It could be good, but I don't know.
Nah,
It sounds like
I'm
the
gonna read it this year since I'm gonna be reading a lot of sci-fi. But I mean, I'm not really looking forward to it. I'm just gonna get it. I just want to read it to get it out of the way.
Yeah, Ori, I agree. People like The Witcher because of the video games, which is, you know, fine, I guess. And then I have like a lot of I have friends from Poland who like The Witcher because, you know, they're Polish. Which I guess also makes sense.
Oh, hello, Jimmy. How you doing?
Yeah.
Sorry, I missed chatting with Nuts on Friday. I was busy eating with my family, so.
Ha! Hedonist. No. So yeah, but I'll definitely have a look at Slow Gods because, you know, if it's Banksian, I'm sure I'll like it. And I'll report on the pronoun thing.
Fair enough.
But I guess until March, I'll just try to catch up with other stuff. It's going to be hard enough that that Olga Tokarczuk book sounds scary enough. I also got some James Scott anarchism stuff lying around. Might be interesting to get into that because, you know, always good to read that kind of stuff. All right, Britton, it's midnight here. My beer's empty. I need to go to the gym tomorrow morning. I should probably.
I'm probably gonna wrap up anyway. So you know you're all good, but thank you everyone who came in and said hi and hung out for a bit. Next week, I'm not sure if we're gonna have this. We'll see. But hopefully you guys enjoyed hanging out for a little while. So yeah. Take care, everyone, and well, until next time.
All right, see you guys.
Just in the stream. We said.